Welcome everyone to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit 1984's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So, wrap yourself up in an inflatable raft and hurl yourself out of a crashing plane. The episode is about to begin.
Welcome, everyone, to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
And we are here. I'm sorry, I was waiting for you to say something else. So, sorry, it's my first time doing this. We are here today to revisit the 1984 classic, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, with Harrison Ford. And we are going to begin this episode as we always do. And I'm going to ask you, Brian, where were you the first time you saw
So
Indiana
this is
Jones
actually May 8th.
and the Temple of Doom?
May 8th, 1984. So almost 40 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, 40 years ago. And I definitely saw this in the movie theater. And I definitely loved it.
Interesting.
Loved it. It was exciting. And I had seen Raiders. And this was like leaps and bounds, in my opinion, as how old was I then? 12-year-old? As a 12-year-old, to my expert analysis, that Temple of Doom was way better than Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes.
So, I loved it. That whole sequence in the temple with the runaway carts, when they, the water bursting through the mountain, like, just so good and funny.
Yes.
So funny. Like, I remember like really laughing. Like, I think even all of the action sequences, I remember being so funny. So I loved it.
How'd you really feel about it, though?
I hated it.
So I'm looking something up real quick. I just
okay.
want to because I think this is kind of amazing. Hold on a second.
Oh, boy.
237.
So Christina's looking up, because we already did revisit Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think probably a couple of years ago. So she's looking at the episode number.
I'm so mad right now.
What happened?
I'm so mad right now. So when we revisited Raiders of the Lost Ark, it was episode 40.
Okay.
Do you know what episode this one is?
239.
241.
Oh,
dang! Why didn't we do it last week?
201 episodes later, we're still kicking.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's
and
wild.
we didn't plan that either.
No, we did not plan it.
But
we wouldn't even plan that it's like a week before its official anniversary.
Yeah, literally a week before. Yeah. Oh my God, what is wrong with us?
I don't know. We're just winging it.
Or what is great.
Yes. So I did. I loved it then. So
yes.
Christina, how about you? When was the first time you saw Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom?
So thank you for asking. I also saw it in the movie theater.
Nice.
And I remember really loving it too. And I remember really loving, I almost said Romancing the Stone, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Mm-hmm. And really excited to see the second one because it wasn't really my type of movie. And I was so excited that I saw it. And, he's so handsome and all of that. So when the second one came out, I was really excited to see it. So I went to see it in the movie theater and I also loved it. And I just loved the just unexpectedness of it. Like you just don't know what's going to happen next or how he's going to get out of these things. And it was very kind of like that nonstop action.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoyed it a lot. Again, I don't know if I liked it as much as Raiders back then. I can't remember, but I definitely enjoyed it. And I loved seeing like Shorty and, all of that. So, but yeah, so that was my history of it.
Nice. And when did you rewatch it?
I rewatched it just a few days ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I didn't really have a lot to digest. When did you rewatch it?
Probably about a week ago.
Yeah.
And actually this happened with another movie recently too with me where like I'm watching a movie and the cat Ferris comes over and jumps in my lap and then I can't reach my notebook. So I stopped taking notes. And then I had to go back and
cat trap is a real freaking thing.
And so I had to go back and rewatch like the final sort of like 35, 40 minutes of it. And so, but that was like the very next night. So it was like over the course of 2 days I watched it 1.5 times.
Uh-huh.
And that was probably about a week ago.
Nice.
So my initial thoughts were it opens up with this musical number, which is a little bit of an unusual.
Very unusual. I completely forgot about it, by the way.
Action-adventure movie. It's Kate Capshaw. Then now she is, Steven Spielberg's wife. She's been his wife for a long time. And she goes out there and she has this long dress on. And Indiana Jones' Temple of Doom is splashed across the screen. Very theatrical. And the song is Anything Goes.
But it was not in English.
No.
Which was funny.
Yeah. And so it's really her singing. And it's, it took me by surprise. I remembered the show number. I didn't remember that's completely how it started. I thought that's how we met Willie. I didn't think it was how the movie started. But I have something to say. I really didn't care for this beginning. I thought it was way too campy, way too, there's no real danger. This is also, by the way, a prequel. Did you know that? This is a prequel to Raiders.
I did not know that.
Yeah, because they didn't want to deal with Nazis.
But wait. What about Shorty? Wasn't Shorty introduced in the first one?
Short Round? No.
Yeah.
This is the sequel.
Okay.
This came out after Raiders, but it's a prequel.
It is, but it's a prequel. Yeah. Okay, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, they just wanted to avoid the whole fighting the Nazis again and whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I just thought it was like just too campy. It was like all the running around and the sliding on the ice and the jewel falling everywhere and flinging and him shish kebabbing some guy. And I'm like, it's so like outrageous. It almost felt a little Naked Gun to me. It really did.
It was very slapsticky.
Yeah, slapsticky, campy, and it didn't feel. It didn't look like an Indiana Jones movie. It didn't feel like it.
It didn't feel like I feel the same way.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like there was a lot at stake. I didn't have that
sense
stress.
Of danger.
I didn't feel like, oh no, are they going to get the diamond? Oh no, are they going to get the gun? I didn't feel any of that
I wrote
pressure.
No real threat. Also, because it's a prequel, he's not going to die. Like, he's he's going to get the antidote.
Well, plus it's the first 5 minutes and he's the hero. So
right.
We're pretty sure he's going to survive this.
But it's never Willie. It's always how will he.
You said Willie.
I did say Willie. Willie or Willie? Yeah.
Willie or won't he?
I don't want to say too much, but I did like when they jumped out of the window and fell through all the things and rolled into the car. Then you meet Short Round, who is just amazing.
He's so cute.
He might be, upon all these revisits, probably my favorite sidekick we've ever revisited.
Yeah, and you know what? My prediction is he's gonna make himself into something someday. That's my guess. That little actor. I think he's gonna be somebody. Mark my words. For those of you who don't know, He is actually, what's his name now? I forgot now. He just won an Oscar, right?
For Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yes. So he just won an Oscar. He was in the Goonies and all that stuff. So I'm just joking. Anyways, yeah. So that was my initial impression too, is like, it just seemed like not an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah. The tone was very off.
So tone was really off. I will say, I'll say a quick story.
Yeah.
I watched this with Emily.
Okay.
And her first exposure to an Indiana Jones movie was the last one. Was it The Last Crusade? Was that the very last one that was just out recently? The very last one.
Dial of Destiny?
Dial of Destiny. That's it. So we watched that in the movie theater. And I don't know if you've seen this movie yet, but the first scene is like a flashback to when he was little, like not little, but young, 30 or whatever, right? And he's hot, right? Yeah. It's all, AI stuff. Yeah. And he's hot. And then it comes, it goes back to the present day where he's an old man. He's like 80 years old. And Emily she's looking, she's like, who's that? And I'm like, that's him. She's like, wait, what? She was pissed. She was like, that's him? He's he's an old man, because she starts watching it and he's like this hot guy running around like just a hot man. And she had no idea that he was actually really old in real life. And so she was just like disappointed from the very beginning. She ended up liking the movie, but it was so funny to me because she was genuinely just so disappointed because she thought he was so attractive. So anyway, so I ended up watching this with her. We watched Raiders of the Lost Ark together because I'm like, oh, we'll watch some older movies when he actually is hot.
I'm glad as long as your ageist daughter enjoyed the movie, that's all that matters.
She's 16. She's not going to find an 80-year-old attractive.
But an 80-year-old.
An 80-year-old will definitely find a 16-year-old attractive. Anyway, so that's a little side note. So we watched it together. And actually, to make this episode super long, the song, I started like singing with it. And I'm like, and anything goes. And she's like, wait, that's a real song? I'm like, honey, you're so wrong.
And she's so musical. Young. She loves musicals.
She is super musical. So that she knew it was a show, but she didn't know that was a song. Anyways, yes, I felt the same way about the diamond. Also, super annoying. I'm like, how many people were shooting at him? And not one person. Like, I don't like that at all. Like, just have one person shooting at him. It's so much more realistic.
Exactly.
He stands out like a sore thumb.
But I will say, he is so gorgeous in this movie.
He is so gorgeous.
Oh my God.
He is so attractive.
He is gorgeous in this movie.
I still think he's attractive.
And the white tux, and then in later scenes in the temple, when he's like shirtless and, I mean, it's like he is beautiful.
He's a very good man.
Looks great in a white tux I have. So then, did you notice the name of the club?
Oh, no. What
Club
was it?
Obi-Wan.
Oh, my gosh. How funny.
So George Lucas co-wrote this with Willard Huyck and Gloria Katz. This is directed by Steven Spielberg. Let's see. No Time for Love, Dr. Jones. And then Willie, I burnt my fingers and broke a nail. So we have to talk about Willie.
Let's talk about her. I am ready to talk about Willie.
When I was young, I really liked Willie. I thought her screaming was hilarious.
You're a big screamer person,
I love a good scream. A good blood-curdling scream. Naomi does a great scream.
She does.
I love a good blood-curdling scream. I love it, I love it, I love it. And when I was young, I loved Willie's blood-curdling screams. And which is good because there were a lot of them.
Lots.
There's a lot of them in this movie. Do you want to know how many?
No. I mean, yes, I want to know.
This movie is an hour and 54 minutes. There are Willie screams 72 times.
Oh,
that is 0.63 screams every minute.
That's insane.
So, all that to say, I liked her when I was young because it was like you needed. So, I love the screaming. Through my middle-age lens now, I understand why she's there. Because Short Round is almost as seasoned as Indiana Jones. Like, nothing really shocks them. If you didn't have Willie, then, for example, the table of food. For example, getting the heart ripped out. For example, all these, like, horrific ordeals. Like, if you don't have someone reacting, and of course, Indiana Jones isn't going to react. He's seen everything. Right. Short Round's not reacting because he's seen everything, too. So you kind of need that like first person to experience it. Unfortunately, through my middle-aged lens, Willie is an incredibly annoying character and screams with everything. And it doesn't really work because she's so vain that like she almost dies like multiple times.
Yes.
And when she realizes she's not dead, it's like, oh my God. My nail. When the plane is crashing, she bites her fist. Like, shucks.
Yeah.
Like, either she's really screaming and scared, or she's not. And I don't know if the movie knows what to do about her.
Agree 1,000%.
Okay.
I remember liking her when I first saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also remember there was a lot of press about her not being a great character and there's no chemistry between the two of them. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah. So I remember there was a lot of that and I was like, why? I thought she was fine.
Yeah.
Now I know why.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is zero chemistry between the two of them.
I completely agree with that.
Zero.
It's like really actually awkward.
It would have been better if they were brother-sister. That would have made more sense to me. But to make them as a romantic couple was almost icky.
Yep.
And she was so annoying. I did not like her, not one little bit.
I think I laughed a couple times at her. We'll get to that. But
that makes sense.
I don't think it's a bad performance though. For what she had to do.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yes,
terrible.
I agree with that.
It's the character is awful. Like there's no
redeeming qualities at all.
There's no straight line through it. Like
No.
there's no. It's like in this scene you're gonna scream. Willie is like, is she vain? Is she a scaredy cat? Is she a tough bitch who's like, I mean, keep in mind, her lovers have been like these like essentially mobsters that go around killing people for diamonds.
Yep.
I feel like she's seen some shit in her life. But you don't know who this character is at all, other than, hate to say it, a screaming woman.
That's it. I said she is spoiled, whining, and annoying. Where is Joan Wilder when you need her?
Oh, that's so good. Well, for that matter,
Joan Wilder's from Romancing the Stone.
Yes.
And she was from New York. She wasn't used to this sort of atmosphere.
This world, yeah.
Yet she was tough and she figured it out.
Yeah.
And this woman, it's like, what is wrong with you?
She's clearly she's an expat. She's living in I don't know where the hell we are.
I don't remember either.
But it's like I just feel like she's tougher than she seems, and
she should be.
And all the screaming is so weird. It's like, wait a minute. So you mean tell me she jumps out of that window, breaks through all these awnings, lands in a car, she doesn't scream. The screaming is so weirdly placed. She's I don't know. It's
she's just a bad character all the way around.
Really bad
she
character.
Really is a bad character. I just
loved her when I was young though. Loved her.
So I did. I was almost defending her. Like, what's wrong? She was great.
I did.
So it must be like a middle-aged lens.
Very much so. I did love when she said to him. So I kind of like the consistency of that. So clearly he gives her his clothes to wear.
Yes.
Because she only has the dress, and so he puts on his old stuff again. And she's like, "We're supposed to be a lion tamer." That was pretty funny.
That was funny. Yeah.
And I love when they have this harrowing escape from Lo Che, and he's like, "Goodbye, Lo Che," and he closes the door of the plane, and it's like property of Lo Che.
That was really funny too. Yeah, a couple of moments, although not as many as I had hoped.
Of funniness?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple that were funny, a couple of things, but all in all, I was kind of waiting for some more of that, and I was a little bit disappointed throughout the movie.
Do you think some of the action was funny? Like when they ever crash, so the plane's crashing, they jump off in the float. I
loved that.
Oh my God. And then it just never stops. Like then it keeps going, and like, yay, we're alive. And then it just keeps going off the cliff. And I laughed so hard. I'm like, I'm loving this raft sequence.
The raft was my favorite part of the movie, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great. A great idea. It was a realistic idea. If I was in that airplane and it was going down, let's grab a raft.
And what else are you going to do? Try everything you can.
But it felt like a real thing that would happen, sort of.
And by the way, that was done in one shot.
No way.
Of course, it's not real people, but it did work the way they thought it was going to work.
Oh my
gosh.
Really
worked.
That's good to know. If we're ever in a plane that's going down, grab the raft.
So, oh God.
She's still holding her dress, which it just like little stupid things like that, which just annoyed me. Almost every time she was on camera, I did feel like when they were camping or whatever it was, there were just way too many animals. Did you feel that?
I loved
it was like,
though.
You don't have all those animals.
I loved it.
Come on.
I did love that part. I wrote LOL, all the wild
screaming.
animals.
I'm surprised.
No, because that's when it was like that was just pure comedy. Like
I did like the snake, like when she thought it was the elephant.
Oh, yeah.
That I liked. But I mean, it was every animal in creation. They're not going to be afraid from. Okay, realistically speaking, come on. She sees one thing, she screams. All of the other animals are disappearing from that scream.
Yeah, I did think the monkey was cute when she screams to the monkey. The monkey's like,
just kind of gives her a look like, what the hell?
And then the bat is scary though. That bat was scary. It was very well done.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Really quick.
Big bats.
Yeah, big bat. Really quick though. There's a little kid at one point who has escaped from the temple.
Yes.
And he's all like skin and bones and that kind of got to me. I thought he was a very good actor.
That's interesting. Yes,
Okay.
I also think that.
Okay.
But I also felt like this is where my note says everything seems a bit convenient. That the dying child happens to find him, gives him an ancient manuscript. Like, it just seemed like, really? He just happened to have that in his hand? And he's finding, let me give it to this weird white man that I don't know.
Yeah.
It just annoyed me a little bit,
Yeah.
to be honest. But, I mean, the acting was good. I agree. The acting was good.
I thought the kid was good. And I also laughed, I hate to say it, when Willie said, "No, baby elephant, don't go." They're like, "We're not going in there," and they all turn away. And
they're like, "Nope."
Because it was like essentially like a human sacrifice on this.
Yes.
Yeah. Or like, what was it? It was like blood and skin on this statue, right? And they're like, "Yeah, we're not doing this."
I forget exactly what it was, but yes, I don't blame them for turning around at all.
Yep. To be honest, through my middle age lens, the dinner of the bugs and the monkey brains,
mm-hmm.
When I was young, it was so much more vivid. And
yes.
Through my middle age lens, I was like, oh, okay. Like, it did nothing.
Well, I do think it was like that shock factor too when you first see it. Like, you don't know they're gonna start eating the brains,
right?
And we've seen a lot of Amazing Race and Survivor and things where people are like, some of the challenges are eating this insect.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not quite as shocking as it was back then. But I agree, it wasn't terrible. I'm not going to take a bite anytime soon.
No,
but I wasn't about to scream or faint.
And then because he does say to Willie at the other place when she's eating like the bugs or whatever and the rice, he's like, you're embarrassing, you're insulting them and embarrassing me.
Yes.
And she doesn't even change. Like, she doesn't even change at all. She's actually even worse this dinner.
She's worse. There's no growth in this character at all.
Yep, you're exactly right. And the going back to your no chemistry thing, when they're having all that I'm calling it nocturnal talk back and forth,
mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait, are they serious? They hate each other.
Yeah.
Like, you never got the sense that they were remotely attracted to each other.
Never.
Ever.
And I wrote down, why is she flirting with him all of a sudden?
Yep.
They haven't even spoken to each other.
Like, why do they even like each other? All this flirting at night.
Point?
Like, that makes no sense.
I mean, it's one thing if like, it's like the culture, they need to be together or something. I don't know, but there was no reason for them to be together, and they didn't like each other. And I don't know what the hell. I said it's forced sexual tension, and I am not buying it.
Not at all. And also, how ridiculous when like he pushes the thing into it, and then she has to push hers, or she tries, and she's like, oh. That's what I mean. It's like it's taking like the worst elements of like a I hate to say it, but like of a wimpy.
Mm-hmm.
Female character.
Yeah,
it's all like
terrible.
the worst traits.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Touching statue
it's like, God forbid
on the breasts. Is that the same?
That's exactly my note.
Yep.
She's like, ooh. Like,
hey, I'm right here.
Yeah. Oh, no. But then she has to do it. She tries it. And she's like, oh, she can't even look.
She can't even look.
I
did laugh when he's trapped and push it to escape or whatever, and then Shorty he says stand against the wall. Oh, it was before he's trapped. Stand against the wall. So he stands against the wall, and it obviously triggers the trap. And he's like, you said to stand against the wall. I stand against the wall. He was like all upset. He's like, you told me to do this. That made me laugh.
Short round. It's an excellent performance, excellent character.
Yes.
The temple looks so cool. So my notes jump.
Yeah, mine's kind of jumpy too.
So the temple looks so cool. I watched this on Paramount Plus. There is fire everywhere, which does raise a question for me.
Yes.
You probably might know where I'm going with this.
Let's hear it then.
If the zombie trance spell from the blood of Kali Ma can be broken by burning someone with fire, I can't think of a worse location for this ceremony to take place.
Why not, Brian?
It
seems
basically
perfectly safe to me.
It basically takes place in a fire pit. The antidote to being possessed by the blood of Kali Ma is to be burned. that breaks the spell. Why are you having the ceremony of which you're possessing someone with the blood of Kalima in a fire pit?
In a fire pit. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all.
Insanity. And it almost like Short Round knew that it would break the spell. He did it a little too confidently.
Yeah. I said the ritual is so brutal when they take the heart and you burn them to death. Like, that was a lot.
Again, through a middle-aged lens, I mean, it looks like a totally different chest.
Yeah.
But it's it's still effective. And I think it's really effective when he's holding the heart and it bursts into flames.
Oh, yeah.
Now I have a story.
Okay. Let's hear it. Is it when somebody grabbed your heart?
Back in 1993, I was a tour guide at Disney World, Disney MGM. And the backstage studio tour. You might already know this story, maybe not.
I might.
I'm sitting there and I'm doing the tour, and it's the Red Shuttle tour. If you've ever been to Disney MGM, I think it's called, what is it called now? Hollywood Studios? What's it called? That other park.
Is it? I think it is Hollywood Studios.
So I'm sitting there doing my tour, and there's a note being passed up to me. So I'm sitting there doing my spiel, and someone passes me a note. And I open the note and it says, "Hello, my name is Amrish Puri. I played Mola Ram in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom."
Oh my goodness. Was it true?
Yes.
Did you do anything about it?
Listen, that's all the note said.
Oh.
What would you do if you were the tour guide?
I don't know.
I
guess I would say, I just got a note saying... There's a person here.
So that was like, am I supposed to announce we have a special guest on the tour? Like that this is...
Well, and who's to say, don't you need to verify that kind of stuff?
I looked at him and I just knew.
You just knew. You recognized him? Oh boy.
So what happens is what I do instead, and I think this was the right step.
Okay.
I call the driver of the tour who's in the cab in front. And I was like, listen, I said, we have a celebrity on this tour.
Alleged.
Amrish Puri. And he's letting me know that he's on the tour. I don't know what to do. And they said, okay, I'll let the front office know. I'm like, okay. Again, it was like, oh my God, what if he doesn't
do you want
to
your
be
money back?
recognized?
It's like, what do you want?
I'm like, yeah, it was super, super weird. But
that is hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try that next time I'm on like anything. I'm gonna pick some obscure name, be like, and I was in.
Or maybe you could probably go with Kate Capshaw at this point.
Like, well, good, yeah. But you have to do like some random name and some random thing, and just to see if they do it, and then they'll be like, "Oh, or I could say my actual name, like, oh, I'm Christina Walsh, and I was,
from Old Roommates."
From old.
See where that gets you.
Oh my God, I was in Old Roommates.
Yeah. So I will say, the heart removal. The removal is pretty quick. But what follows is more terrifying through a middle-aged lens. Like, it's not so much that they rip the heart out, it's that it bursts into fire, and then they lower the poor guy.
Yeah, I don't like
who,
the burning
incinerates.
thing. Yeah, I don't like that.
So I have this is an unintentional laughter.
Oh boy.
Indy talks for about 2 straight minutes about the rock that they stole from the village. And now they're being quiet. They're watching the ceremony.
Yes.
And he's like, that's the rock they took from the village. It's one of the Sankara stones. He keeps talking and talking and talking. And Short Round says, why does it glow like that? Indiana Jones goes, shh, quiet. He's like, oh my God. He's been talking for like the last 5 fucking minutes.
Indiana.
Yeah, calm down,
Come
Indiana.
on, Dr.
He
Jones.
asked one question.
Oh,
and he wasn't even loud.
God, that is so funny.
Oh my God. And it could have Willie could have been screaming. You know what I mean? But it's like, sure, all he said was, oh, why does it glow like that?
He was interested in what you had to say.
He was trying to learn.
That is
Professor
so funny.
Dr. Jones.
Right?
Oh my God.
That's so damn funny. I did not like all of the children, just all the children's slaves. I didn't like that.
Well, so I have a question about this.
I don't like it.
I have a question. So these kids, remember they're in the cage, and they said, oh, what happens if you drink the blood of Kalima? And you love when I say Kalima. I can tell by your face.
I do.
So Kalima, and the kid says you become like them, the slaves. So now, if they're possessed and taken over, they're essentially like zombies,
right?
Why do they suck at working? Like, why do
they should be able to really good at work ethic.
Exactly. Like, that's what I understand. Why do they need to be whipped and stuff? Because if they're under a spell, and also if they're under the
it's
spell,
a shitty spell.
why don't they, it doesn't have to burn all the kids to break them out of the spell?
Right.
There's a
Yeah,
couple
that
of
doesn't make any
holes in
sense because
this.
as soon as they're free, they just run away. Like if they're under
They
the
know
spell, why would
exactly. They shouldn't even need chains.
No, they should just be staying there. That
Yeah,
doesn't make any
they're
sense.
under the spell. That's the whole point of a spell.
Mhm.
So, and of course, I'm guessing the reason why they don't do this because like otherwise we'd have to watch Indiana Jones burn about 200.
Maybe
Imagine-
not throw the
imagine-
children in the vat of fire.
Imagine if they were like, short round, grab a torch.
Get
And
them.
they had to like just start burning all the
Burn
children.
them all.
Oh my god, that'd be an awkward scene.
It would be a very different movie.
So I wrote, so fire can break the spell. Great. Let's create the den of evil surrounded by fire and a fire pit. Makes perfect sense.
Sounds great.
The children are digging. Oh yeah, so the children are digging for the last 2 stones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's 5 stones.
Okay.
Yeah. I wrote, I love Short Round. He just made me my favorite 80s sidekick of all time.
Yeah, I really like him too.
He's the cutest kid ever.
And then
All that whipping.
there's so much whipping.
Yeah.
It made me very uncomfortable with the kids. They have an indie voodoo doll.
Pretty fast.
That is really convenient. Like they just knew he was going to be here. You know what? Just in case, let's make a voodoo doll. That is about that's
The
Indiana
kid could have
Jones.
said, "I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to excuse myself to go to my craft room. I feel inspired by tonight's
Did it have to have
dinner."
a hat even? Like, I mean, does a voodoo doll have to have the correct clothing? I don't always wear a hat.
But
It's so bizarre.
actually,
It was did he go to Target and get an Indiana Jones doll?
also, wait a minute. What was he wearing at the dinner? Was he wearing
He was
that?
not wearing, no, because he had to change into that.
So how does that kid know what he wore?
It's bizarre. I
That
know.
makes no sense.
And I'm sorry. I think it probably takes a little while to make a hat.
Yeah, and then to get it possessed in time.
And all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seemed a bit weird. Why didn't they just, you and I went to New Orleans together.
Yeah.
And we got the voodoo dolls. Remember the voodoo dolls? They did not have certain clothing. You just say who you wanted
It's
to
just
be.
like a thing of fabric wrapped around a stick.
You shouldn't have to
and you
say,
just believed
okay,
it.
did he have scruff too? I mean, come on. I think you can just say this is who it is. I think the gods know who you want it to be.
Oh my god, that's a good point.
It was so funny.
Harrison looks so good. Oh my god.
He's a hot man.
He is hot in this movie.
I don't blame Emily for being disappointed.
And I just wrote Willie screams a lot.
Well, I have a quote about, this is Willie's quote. "I'm not going to have anything nice to say about this place when I get back."
Yeah, really.
I said, is she that stupid? Who wrote these lines for her?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand why people think that's a funny thing to say.
Yeah.
Like that character, I worry for her actual health. If she's saying that shit, I just don't get it.
Yeah, you
I
can
just
jump
don't
on
get it.
Yelp. I think you have bigger problems right now. Like that's the thing. It's like she just seems so.
She's out of touch.
The things she's saying are not funny. They're not funny enough.
They're not.
It's like they're not. And I don't know. It's just weird. She should be much tougher.
And she's really, really not likable
No.
at all. Not at all.
Oh
I don't
my
care.
God.
You know what? If she got thrown into the pit, I'd be like, bye.
Ah!
Where's her voodoo doll?
Oh, then she gets out and she smacks him in the face. First of all, you'd be so dehydrated.
Yes.
You'd be so parched. You'd be sunburnt.
Mhm.
You would not have the strength to slap somebody in the face.
No, you would not.
I
have a critique.
Oh, as opposed to the last 5 minutes.
Just
The
so you
whole
know,
episode?
there is a critique coming.
Oh, okay, let's hear it.
So Shorty, he gets captured and he has the chains on his legs.
Yes.
And then he starts using his pickaxe to cut the chains, right? Good idea. He cuts the chain in half in between. And the very next scene, he's running without any chains on and no cuffs or anything. The fuck?
Strange.
Weird.
Very weird.
Didn't make any sense.
Nope, it did not.
How did he get the cuffs off?
Oh, excuse me. Let's see.
Oh, and why didn't they take her heart out before lowering her?
She's just a woman.
So it doesn't matter? She doesn't have a heart?
Maybe not. I don't know. I
do not like in movies when they have a ritual and then they're redoing the ritual and it's different. And this happens a lot because usually the first ritual you see is a long drawn out 10-minute thing.
Yeah.
And then of course they want to save time. So it's like, oh, nope, just put some cuffs on her and throw her in the pit. And I don't like that. Yeah. They should have done the same exact stuff. They should have tried to take her heart out.
And maybe like a breast implant comes out.
Oh my God. What's this saline thing?
Wait, is that in the movie? Did they do a?
Oh my God, no, that's really good though.
Okay, let's see. Holy shit, they're gonna slash Short Round's throat. That was insane. I actually really thought like that was really done well. Like it was like holy shit, because that's how they would do it too. Yeah. Like just no thinking. And I was like, I appreciated the hyper violent moment from that person that grabbed Short Round and went to. It was very holy intense. Shit, that was like the nick of time.
Wow. I did like when Indy and Shorty were punching out the villains at the same time.
I have that same note.
It was so cute.
Love that moment.
Really good moment.
He says, "I'm back, kid," and they both start fighting. And just that, because like there's center screen, and they're both karate kicking at the same time.
Did they have the music? Dun, dun, dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun. Can I tell you, on the closed caption, when that music starts, it says Raiders theme plays.
Oh my gosh!
But they just assume you know what that music is.
That's really funny. I've never seen that before. I've heard like swelling music, or stuff like that, but.
Short Round saves the day, gets stabbed. Wait, what's this? Oh my God, that is really genuinely funny. So Short Round has this traumatic experience after another, besides being a child slave. And then he gets stabbed by the pin from that kid.
Right.
And Indy's like, Short Round, quit screwing around with that kid. Oh my God. So funny. But I loved when Short Round jumps in the water things, it lifts him up, and then he's like fighting with the little kid.
Yes.
Two funny things. I don't know if both of them are supposed to be funny, but he eventually karate chops the kid's arm, which is brilliant.
Excellent.
And then he takes fire again and does burn that kid, the Madarasha, whatever. And he burns the kid, but the kid screams almost like Kermit the Frog, and his whole body shakes like, ah!
Oh my God.
I laughed so hard, and I probably shouldn't have. But I was like, good, get him, Short Round, burn that kid, burn him.
Burn that motherfucker.
I love the minecart sequence nonstop. I mean, the movie just fucking steamrolls at a certain point.
It does, but it was getting a bit much for me.
Exhausting?
I did like the carts. It reminded me of Red Rock Run.
Yes.
From Jordan's Furniture, where we used to work.
Yeah.
But one part was somebody tells them to get out, you must take the left tunnel.
Yeah.
Why are we believing him now? They're like, okay. Like, what? Why would you think that that's the correct way? I would think I would go the opposite.
The spell is broken.
I would go the opposite way. I wouldn't believe him.
Then you don't believe the spell. And how the spell is broken. Then you wouldn't believe Indiana Jones, would you?
Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. He'll have to interrogate me to find out. So I did say, all right, enough with the carts, water, and then no, I like the carts, but first the carts, then the water, and then the crocodiles, and then the army of men.
Nope, loved it all. Loved.
I was exhausted. I was like, all right, enough. I'm done.
I loved it all. Loved it all.
Congratulations.
But I will say if I'm really nitpicking, when Short Round, so when they are pulling Short Round between the two carts, they keep cutting back and forth, and sometimes they have him by one arm, sometimes they have him by two arms, and when they cut over, it looks like, I know it is fake, everyone, but it looks wildly fake.
It looks almost like a movie.
It looks wildly fake from the overhead shot, where his arms look like they're like 5 feet long. It's done not so great, but I still thought it was very exciting, and I did love when the water burst out of the cliff and the cliff just starts disintegrating. I thought it was done so scary, so well. I loved it. And then the bridge, I think, is an amazing sequence. I love the whole thing. The bridge was fine. But I just said it sure is taking a long time to get him on that bridge. I don't know what that means. Get who on the bridge?
I don't know. I just said him.
Him. Okay.
Also, are they not seeing him? Tell Shorty and Willie to hang on. Oh, so
I've always had that issue with this movie.
yeah, it's
always.
Like, hang on. It's like,
well, no, he's saying it in Short Round's language, and then he's like, listen, lady, follow me, lady, and she's like, oh my god, oh my god.
You know, that it's like Tess, Tess from Annie. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
but I did laugh, and I'll tell you. But here's the thing: picture a scene like that,
yes,
without Willie. Everyone is way too cool in the scene.
Right?
No one's really being feared because it's like this machismo.
I understand why she needs to be there.
Okay.
I just didn't like her as a character. I think they could have done more with her. Like
Same.
we're in agreement. Why are you talking to me like I'm arguing with you?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to prove my point.
You don't have to prove your point. I get it. I said the same point. I'm done with you, Brian. It's over.
Oh my god,
it's
fine.
over. Now that was acting.
You forgot to scream.
I don't do that. I don't want to do that to people.
I did say the stunt work is amazing. When the bridge does fall,
yes,
and they're all dangling from the bridge, I think that whole sequence is done so well. And that is one thing that is done as good as it is. I was like, it goes on a little too long.
Too long,
yeah. When they're all hanging and hanging and hanging. And it's never really clear why Short Round and Willie don't start climbing the ladder immediately. They're dangling on for dear life. Like,
it's a ladder.
Climb it.
It's a ladder.
What's a bridge? That became a ladder. Yeah.
Yes, it's a ladder.
Christina, what has gotten into you?
I am feeling attacked.
I think I need a torch to break you out of your spell.
Maybe you're the one that has the spell. But I did say my last note was basically, it's just not quite as fun as I remembered it to be. I just felt like there was a lot.
So,
I was too nitpicky, I think.
I think I've become more nitpicky in this episode than I was when I was watching it. But like after you let it sit and stew for a little bit, you're like, eh. But it's like, why do they all sound like Homer Simpson when they get shot? So the British people show up. The British army shows up and they're shooting the army of Mola Ram. Mm-hmm. But when they're getting shot, they're like, and they're all like falling over. They sound like Homer Simpson. And but the other thing I didn't like, to your earlier point about all the people with all the guns, were all the arrows. It's like, just have two people shooting arrows. Yeah. Like, have everyone else have their swords, have two people that are pro archery people, and then just shooting it. Like, you have like 20 fucking arrows like bouncing off the mountain, and not a single one even grazes him. Yeah. So, and then the only thing I didn't really like is that the line for me between Han Solo and Indiana Jones became a little blurred every time he called Willie sweetheart, because he said it very Han Solo-y, and it reminded me of Star Wars.
Yeah, or, I could see that.
Star Wars trilogy. Believe it or not, so I have some trivia. But then it's so I think I know your answer, but more, less, or about the same on revisit?
It's less for me.
Okay, like a big less or a little less?
It's a big less, yeah. I don't think I would. I was disappointed, definitely disappointed, mostly with her character, and she was just annoying to me, and just it was a little too many things that were kind of missed, and some things just went on too long. So yeah, it was a little bit of a miss for me. Yeah,
for me, it's weirdly the same. I know it sounded like I kind of critiqued it a bit too much, but I appreciated more of the technical stunt work, the timing of scenes, a lot more than when I was younger. But but I did love it when I was younger. So I would say more to slightly less. But it's such an exciting movie that if you check your brain at the door, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you do have to you do have to suspend reality a bit in these movies.
Yeah, for sure. Trivia: this budget, $28.2 million. This looks like a huge movie. Wow. Box office $333 million.
Wow. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's really the majority of it was just one big set, right? I mean,
well,
mostly the fire and stuff.
The plane.
Oh, the plane.
There's a lot of like big set pieces. $28 million. It's like, I don't know. I think it looked really great. So Raiders was 1981. It made $390 million. Temple of Doom, 1984. Romancing the Stone, because I'm like, I think this movie drew a lot of comparisons to that. And so we did some searching, and it was like, it said it was more compared to Raiders than Temple. That was September 1984.
And we did revisit that one. I don't remember what episode it was.
Yes.
But we did.
And that was one of your favorite revisits.
Yeah,
maybe.
I loved that one. Yep.
Because of this, Steven Spielberg talked to the Motion Picture Association of America and created the PG-13 rating. He originally wanted it to be PG-2. But they wanted something more obvious, so PG-13.
Sure.
Believe it or not, those are my notes. I have a match game.
I also have a match game.
Why don't you go first?
I have to figure out where it is.
Oh. Or do you want me to go first?
No, I can go first.
Okay.
Okay. This is actually kind of a cute one. So Willie Scott was so dumb.
How dumb was she?
She was so dumb. She was asked to be on The Amazing Race, and instead of choosing Indiana Jones, she chose blank.
I don't know what this is.
Instead of choosing
Right,
Indiana Jones,
this is really
for
dumb.
The Amazing
I'm going
Race
real
partner,
dumb. Yeah.
she chose
Ding.
Okay. Brian, Willie Scott was so dumb. She was asked to be on The Amazing Race, and instead of choosing Indiana Jones, she chose
R2-D2.
Oh, that is pretty dumb. Yeah, he would not be a very good partner, I don't think. I had two answers.
Okay.
I was going to say Dumb Dora.
Good,
because that's pretty dumb. But I instead chose her agent.
That's really good.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Christina, in a deleted scene, one of Mola Ram's victims was none other than Dumb Dora.
Oh.
And Dumb Dora is so dumb.
How dumb is she?
Well, Mola Ram didn't reach through her chest. He reached through her head.
Oh, God.
But sadly, he pulled out, instead of a brain, he pulled out a blank. Mola Ram, Dumb Dora, one of his victims.
All right, I'm going to...
He reached into Dumb Dora's head.
Ding.
Ding. All right, Mola Ram, one of his victims was Dumb Dora, but he reached into her head. Instead of a brain, he pulled out a blank.
Pulled out poop.
Oh, I have 3 answers.
Well, because she has shit for brains.
I put a bird, like a bird brain. So I also had a pea, like a green
like
pea, a pea brain, and a titmouse.
Oh, Jesus. I almost said titmouse.
Titmouse, yeah. Titmouse is such a great word.
Yeah, I was just thinking shit for brains, so
that's so good.
Pulled out poop.
That is so good.
All right. Well, friends, that is
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And so really quick, did you watch? Have you seen all of them? All of the I haven't.
I never saw. I think
I never saw.
I just saw the very, very last one that was in the theaters with Emily, obviously. I don't think I saw. Well, what was the one with his father?
Last Crusade.
So I did see that one. That was good.
That was good?
Yeah, that was good. But wasn't there another one with his son?
I don't know.
I think there's one with his son.
Probably.
But I liked The Last Crusade. We'll have to revisit that at some point.
Right. Oh yeah, because it was wasn't Kate Blanchett in one of these? Or was she in the Sean Connery one? I don't know. I haven't seen that's the thing, I haven't even seen them, so
I don't know.
But
anyway, that was Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. And that's it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates.
Thank you for listening. Please remember to follow us on Instagram or YouTube, where we have our episodes as well as a little extra.
And if you have any questions about our show, any suggestions for movies we could revisit, reach out to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
Thanks again for listening.
This is Brian.
And this is Christina. Until next time.